Well, hello everybody. I'm going to try this again. I was sitting there being live all by myself and not seeing anybody here. Really bizarre, even though it was showing me being live, and I just got a message from my mom asking me where I am. So, this is awkward. No one is here with me. It's showing that I'm being live. There's my mom. Mom, this is really, really weird. I was actually sitting there being live and it said I was live, but no one was here with me. I was all by myself. So who knows where that first one went? But I tell you what, I'm going to start again. I'm happy to see two shiny faces here with me. This is really, really weird. Like I said, it said live, but no one is here. Oh, I'm so much happier seeing things flying by on my screen instead of being all alone. Nancy, I'm so glad you're here. And Nina and my mom. Okay. Settle down. Welcome for the second time in a row today to Lunch Break Live. Real talk about obesity, food addiction, recovery, and what's really eating you. I am Carrie Dela Cruz, actually here live again, but with people here to share the experience with me. Here to talk about something I call understanding. Now, the topic of today's show is you just don't understand, okay? You just don't understand. Now, the whole idea came from something that I was talking about yesterday, an experience that I had at work with my lovely, thoughtful coworker who had gifted me some homemade chocolate chip cookies. And when she gave them to me, it was like she looked confused and like unsure, you know, but knowing she wanted to do something nice for me, knowing that she wanted me to feel that I was thought of and remembered, but not knowing how to do it because she knew that I didn't eat cookies, right? But to her, it was just, I think, kind of like, oh, it's like being on a diet and you just don't eat them, right? But somebody else, you know, will, so here, right? It's confusing and probably a little frustrating to deal with someone like me who is in recovery for food addiction and who deals and treats her obesity, right? It's very frustrating and confusing. And I want you to think about the why, okay? Let's say you're the other person coming in, you know, with the cookies and going, I don't understand. How can you have a problem with something you need to live? Why can't you just stop once you start? I mean, there's only a few cookies here. What's the big deal? Maybe it's a willpower problem or you're just lazy. If you just did things the way I do things, then there wouldn't be a problem, right? So confusing and frustrating. Okay, now turn it around. How many times have you ever said to yourself, how can I have a problem? How can I be addicted to something I need to live? Why can't I just stop? I mean, once I start, why don't I stop? Why can't I just put it down? Am I lazy? Is it a willpower issue? See? So if they're confused and we're confused, where is the understanding? I mean, where does that even start if we can't understand it for ourselves, right? Okay, so we agree that there is some confusion. And how can we have, there is confusion due to misunderstanding. And without understanding, how can we even hope to gain acceptance? So if we're not understood, how can we be accepted? Tricky, right? It doesn't matter that we apparently don't understand ourselves. Maybe we're struggling to accept ourselves too. I think I better think about this a little more. Or maybe I've already thought about it. How can we be accepted and have compassion? How can other people be compassionate for us about something they don't understand? How can they accept something they don't get? I don't know. Can we have compassion for ourselves? Can we accept something we don't get? Something to think about anyway. But I think acceptance and compassion are two really great words, and they are often predicated upon the concepts of understanding and forgiveness. True? Do you guys agree with me? Right? Is in order for us to be accepted and for someone to have compassion for us, they have to understand us and they have to forgive us. Right? Think about that. All right. We would say, well, if you just understood my struggle, you'd have compassion for me, right? And if you could just accept me just the way I am, you'd forgive my shortcomings. Have you guys ever said that or thought that? Well, I think I might be onto something. First of all, do you accept yourself? Do you accept your obesity? Do you accept your addiction or your food addiction or whatever it is? Do you understand it? Do you have compassion for yourself? Do you forgive yourself? Maybe not. So why are we expecting other people to do something we don't even do ourselves? That is the big $64,000 question. Well, as usual, I think it comes down to a definition of terms, all right? We've got understanding, compassion, acceptance, and forgiveness. That's like 4 things I've been tossing around in this show so far. Can you have compassion without understanding? What do you think? Can you be compassionate if you don't understand what it is that the other person is struggling with or suffering from? Can you accept someone else without forgiving them? Does acceptance automatically mean agreement? So if someone accepts whatever it is that you're dealing with, or if you accept what someone else is dealing with, does that mean you automatically agree? Does forgiveness require understanding? So in order to forgive, do you have to understand first? I think that the first and maybe most important part of this is we're humans, okay? We have to agree on that. We're humans, and the way in which we connect with each other is shared experiences, ideas, values, thoughts, and feelings. That's how we get each other. We just get it, right? We connect by saying, I get it. I have felt what you're feeling, or I have thought the things that you're thinking. I had the same experience. I get it. Yeah, right? That's where the shared experience, the human condition, that's where understanding and forgiveness and acceptance and compassion are often found, in a shared experience. If someone doesn't share our experience, it can be very, very hard for them to understand. Don't you agree? Okay. I was thinking about this. Like, what happens when you see someone smiling or you hear them laughing? You smile or you laugh, right? Oh, if you see someone crying, if I see somebody crying, I cry. Shared experience. I don't even have to know why they're crying. If I see them crying, I want to cry. But if I see someone else being angry, I'm not necessarily angry. I want to know why they're angry, and then I've got to decide if it matters for them to be angry, right? Or if they're hurt. Well, okay, I feel bad for them, but I'm not going to hurt right along with them. So isn't that kind of an interesting thought that, I can laugh with someone, I can smile with them, I can cry with them. If I understand what they're going through, or if I know them well enough, I can hurt with them. But I draw the line at anger. Okay, I'm just not getting angry with you unless you have a really, really good reason and I really know you well. And right? See what I'm saying? It's kind of weird, right? And yet we expect people to just automatically be angry with us at our condition, or to hurt with us and for us, even though they don't really understand or they don't have that shared experience. It's kind of tricky business, don't you think? All right. Can I have compassion for your hurt or anger if I don't share your experience as a human being? Did you follow that? Can I have compassion for you if I don't share your experience? Well, yes. Because you know why? I think for a long time we've been defining compassion not quite in the right way. See, compassion doesn't mean that you necessarily have to have empathy for or sympathy for the other person. And it doesn't necessarily require understanding, right? Or a shared experience. Why you did what you did, why you feel the way you feel. Compassion doesn't require any of that. It's actually, I kind of think it's kind of contrary. I think it's kind of opposite to that. Compassion says, look, I don't have to understand why you feel the way you feel, or why you did what you did, or why you said what you said, in order to have compassion for you. I just need to know that you're a human being who has experienced something in your life that brought you to this place. Compassion means I get the fact that you are also a human being, and something must have happened to bring you to this place in your life. And for that, as a fellow human being, I have compassion for what you're going through. Doesn't mean that I understand, and it doesn't mean that I necessarily accept it either. And there's really nothing to forgive. It just is, okay? It just is, because we're human beings. Compassion can, hope for the best without having to believe the worst. I wrote that. Compassion can hope for the best without having to believe the worst. That's kind of cool, don't you think? I don't know. Maybe it's not as cool to you as it is to me, but I think it's really cool. Here's the thing. Acceptance now. Funny thing, okay? Right? At least I think it is. Because we expect and demand acceptance from other people, even if we may not do it ourselves. So we may not accept ourselves, yet we expect other people to accept us, don't we? Oh, and the minute I do accept myself, I expect you to accept me too. So even if you don't get me, you better accept me. Really? Why? Who says? Why do I have to accept you? It's great that you accept you, but I don't have to accept you. I don't have to be mean to you, but don't force acceptance on me. See? This is crazy. We feel like, I see this a lot. Like, okay, look, I have come to a place of acceptance with my shrinkles, on my body. And so I'm going to let them all hang out, and I'm going to expect you to accept my shrinkles too. No. You don't have to be critical. You don't have to judge. You don't have to be demeaning. You don't have to be derogatory, but I don't expect you to accept my shrinkles just because I do. And I think that's where we get into a little trouble with this whole concept of being understood, the idea of compassion and acceptance. And I think the lines get blurred, okay? Someone doesn't have to accept what you've come to accept, certainly because, if for no other reason than I've lived in my body for 50 years. All right, I've had 50 years to come to this place of acceptance, whereas the person on the street whom I've never met has had exactly 2 seconds. So they have to what? Accept something that took me 50 years to, it doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? So what I'm getting at is I think our recoveries and our own lives of balanced serenity can be more achievable if we begin to look at these concepts like compassion, which says, I can have compassion for you even if I don't understand you. We can hope for compassion from others, but it doesn't mean we expect it. We also don't require other people to accept the fact that we have a food addiction if they don't understand it. We can ask for their compassion, however, that it is something with which we struggle, and we can have compassion for ourselves. Okay? And I think a good place is to forgive ourselves. Other people don't have to, quote, forgive us to understand us. They also don't have to understand us in order to have compassion for us. And they do not have to accept everything about us in order to be able to have compassion for us. Is this making sense so far? Let's see here. Do I have other notes? Let's see. We might come to accept that we are addicts or struggle with obesity, but we can't force others to understand or accept that fact. Okay? Some people just don't get it, and here's the tricky thing, okay? And I see this a lot with alcohol. There's a lot of people who say, what's the big deal? I don't have a problem with alcohol, so therefore what? That means no one else has a problem with alcohol? If someone says, I have a problem with alcohol, then it's a problem. Even if you don't understand it, even if you don't have that shared experience. And I would hope for some level of compassion that says, okay, I don't have that shared experience with alcohol, but I have compassion for you as a human being because you're telling me that you have a problem with it. We're very quick to discount, say, it's not a problem. Don't make such a big deal out of it. If it's a problem, it's a problem, okay? It may not be your problem, but if someone else is professing that they have that problem, then as a human being, I think it's incumbent upon us to have compassion for that condition and be respectful of the fact that it's a possibility. There but for the grace of God. Have you ever heard that? There but for the grace of God go I. I am grateful that I do not have a problem with alcohol, but I am very aware that many people do. Lives are ruined because of an addiction to alcohol. I have seen it happen. It has happened in my family. Not my mom, not my dad. It was above that, okay? I've seen it. I don't experience it personally. I don't get the attraction to alcohol, but I don't discount the fact that some people really have a problem. And I have compassion for them. And I hope for compassion for my circumstances as well that says, look, you guys may be serving up pizza in the lunchroom right now. That's not something that I'm comfortable being around or something that I'm going to eat, because once I start it, I don't stop it. It's a problem for me, and I'm hopeful that you can have compassion for me that says, I don't understand how you can have a problem with pizza, but I have compassion for you that you say that you do. Okay? So that's really the message here. If we want compassion, we have to be compassionate. Don't expect acceptance. It's not up to us to expect acceptance from others, but we need to work on accepting ourselves. If you're understood, be grateful, but don't expect it, okay? And forgive others who don't understand, accept, or show you compassion. So that's my little message for the day, the second time in a row. Lord only knows where the first show went, but I'm really grateful to see you guys here engaging, interacting, seeing things flying by. I'm just so appreciative for your presence. So I'm going to look at what you guys have written very quickly, and then I'm going to let you guys go. Let's see here. So happy you guys are here. I mean it. As I see the names scroll by, it makes me really, really happy. We're here now. Yay, Nancy. I love it. Really weird. Okay. Hey, Kate. Kate, all the way from New Zealand, one of my Kiwi friends. Self-compassion and acceptance starts with us. Oh, good work, girl. The things I love. Right on. These are big messages, aren't they? Boy, and these are things that really trip us up, and I guarantee you these are the things we feed. Ooh, when we don't have compassion for ourselves, when we don't forgive ourselves, when we don't accept ourselves and our circumstances, we feed that stuff. We overfeed that stuff. That really eats us up, and it really hurts. So it's good if we're aware of it and we look at it and we go, whoa, I do not need to feed that. I don't need to get all upset because someone else doesn't understand my problem. If I understand that I have a problem, even if I don't understand the problem, I think that's a really good first step, right? And speaking of, you don't have to understand the whys and wherefores before you can actually treat the problem. So even if you don't understand addiction, you don't need to know the body chemistry, the brain chemistry, how it's wired. You don't need to. It's fine if you do, and a lot of people find great comfort in that, but you don't have to understand that in order to begin treating the problem. Just saying. All right, very tricky business. Empathy. Said Marie. Empathy, the way that I would define it, empathy means that it's a shared emotion. So it's a step above sympathy. Sympathy says, it's kind of like saying, I feel so sorry for you that you're going through that. I can understand what's happening, or I've seen other people go through it. I may not have personally gone through it, but I can have, I have a shared sort of feeling sorry for you as a human being. Empathy says, oh yeah, I totally get that because I too share that experience, or I have had that experience. I've witnessed that experience personally. So there's a personal I feel bad because I have felt that bad. And then there's sympathy that says I feel bad. Okay, so that's how I define it in my simple little, non-Webster's dictionary sort of way. All right. We don't have to understand or have shared experiences to be compassionate. Yes, let me tell you, this concept was huge for me because it really did. Once I was able to understand the fact that I don't have to accept what's going on with someone else in order to have compassion, I was able to say, oh man, I don't know what brought you to this point. It must have been really bad sometimes, to see how poorly you're behaving or what you're doing or how destructive you are. Oh, it must have been horrible, whatever happened to you as a human being. And I have compassion for that. And I am so grateful, apparently, that I don't have that shared experience because I am not in the same place you are. Oh, I feel for you. I feel for you. Oh, as a human being, that must be terrible. It's so freeing and so liberating to be able to say that without saying, I don't have to understand and I don't have to accept it. And that may not have been a problem for me. What happened to you? If it had happened to me, I may not be experiencing it the same way. It may not be reflected in me. I may not behave the same way. But the fact that it happened to you and you are behaving that way, or you're reacting that way, you feel that way, is enough for me to give you compassion. Do you see what I'm saying? It's very liberating, you guys. It really, truly is a gift. I think it's on par with forgiveness. I really do, if not more important. It's a gift we give ourselves and we give to others. All right. Let's see here. The old double standard, wanting others to accept us even if we don't accept ourselves. You betcha. You betcha. And you know what? I'll just say briefly, I don't want to run too long, but this whole idea, there's like this forced acceptance that says, you must accept me for who I am or else. Who says? I don't know you, or I don't, necessarily agree with your conclusion or whatever. Why do I have to accept you? I have to be a human being. I don't have to be mean to you, but by golly, I'm entitled to my opinions or my beliefs, my values, just as surely as you're entitled to yours. I don't have to accept what you believe, but that doesn't mean that I reject you either. Okay? Just because I don't accept you doesn't mean I reject you. I think that's kind of a good way to put it. A lot of us spend a lot of time beating the drum saying, you will accept me because, or else what? You reject me? No, that's not a reasonable conclusion. So if we look at it that way, I think we can make some good progress. All right, let's see here. Hey, Denise, I don't know if you're still here. My old buddy from junior high. Oh my gosh, we go way, way back. I'll talk to you guys more about her later. Anyway, hi friend. Hope you're staying warm up there. All right, some don't get it and they don't want to try. We just have to get it ourselves and show compassion to others. And Nancy, here's what I'm thinking. Even if we don't get it, if we have compassion for ourselves and say, look, I do not, boy, let me tell you, I don't get why it's a problem for me. I don't get why chocolate chip cookies get my motor running. I just don't get it, but I know it. That's all. I know it, and I know that I need to do something about it, and that is to treat that addiction by being sober and staying away from them. That's it. I don't need to get it. I don't need to know why that happens to me. I just need to know that it does, and it's very interesting. You appreciate me. Oh, thank you so much, Nancy. I really appreciate being appreciated. How's that? Let's see. Blanca, hello. Hola, hola. Okay, so that's it, you guys. I am really grateful that you're here for the second time today. Like I said, I have no idea where the first show went, but I'm going to let you guys go and hope that I get to come back and share with you again tomorrow. I'm so grateful that you guys indulge me with this and my, thought processes, the things I think about. I'm so grateful for the feedback that says, you know what? I think what you're saying every once in a while makes a little bit of sense, or I can get that. I can relate to that. Thank you for having compassion for my craziness. I guess that's what I would say. So I'm going to leave you guys on that note. And no, I'm not going to go have a slice of pizza. I have quiche in the freezer. I'm going to go have that. So I will leave you alone, and I will remind you all to have courage, seek peace, embrace joy, and above all, compassionately live your recovery. Remember, you can't stop feeding what's eating you if you don't know what's eating you. I will see you tomorrow. Take care, guys. Bye.